Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to Remember11, the Age of Infinity. Don't know why clouds. Anyway, took a little bit of time away from it. A few hours and come back. See what Yuni has to tell us. He's telling us of some... I think he's fixing to start explaining some stuff. I doubt he's going to explain it all. Be an interesting name of the episode. Yuni explains it all, just like Clarissa. Summary was like this. If you think about it, the solution is extremely simple. Obviously. First of all, until now, I had thought that the very first transfer had occurred on January 11th between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. It seems like that wasn't actually the case. Before that, just once one complete cycle of the space-time transfer had occurred. It was just a little bit after 5 p.m. on the evening of the 11th. At the time, there wasn't anyone inside the Mount Akakura shelter cabin. Yomugi, Lin, and Kokoro hadn't reached it yet. And then a space-time transfer occurred. Sophia of 2012 had jumped back to the Mount Akakura of 1 year ago. And the Mount Akakura of 2011 jumped ahead to the Aosagi Island of 1 year later. At the time, the Yuni of the year 2012, the Yuni standing in front of me right now, was on the coast of Aosagi Island. He knew that the transfer was going to happen beforehand, entered the shelter cabin alone, and was transported. In the meantime, what was happening in Mount Akakura 1 year ago? The crash of Flight 18 occurred after 4 p.m. Yuni of the year 2011, Spia's Yuni, had been thrown out into the snowfield and was wandering alone in the storm. Shortly before 5 p.m., he'd wandered into the Mount Akakura Circle. What he found there was Spia. There should have been a large wall around it. The Mount Akakura Circle was surrounded by a slightly elevated hill. The summit of the hill and the top of the wall were about the same height. As a result, Yuni had tumbled down the wall. Through the swirling snow, he saw a white-walled structure in the distance. Marshalling his fleeting consciousness, he managed to reach the building and take shelter there. And then he entered the empty room near the kitchen. Time passed, and then a little after 5 p.m., Spia returned to Aosagi Island with the Yuni of 2011 still inside. At the same time, inside the shelter cabin, the Yuni of 2012 was transported to the frozen Mount Akakura. After that, nothing particularly strange had happened. The whole continuing consciousness phenomenon, personality exchange, that's what it was called. Personality transfer, and the whole murder thing, and nothing strange. Two Yunis with their original consciousness, still in their bodies, had ridden across the boat known as Space captains. That's what he meant by never having transferred even once. Although more accurately, he had never separated from his consciousness even once. In truth, he had traveled back and forth with that space transferred between 2011 and 2012. Now then, there's still one important matter. Newspaper. But a newspaper from the future exists inside the shelter cabin. Yuni had the answer to that as well. When he entered the shelter cabin, the Yuni of the year 2012 brought along a newspaper printed on July the 4th with him. I feel like I should be satisfied some. They're giving me some answers there. They're explaining a bit. I feel like this might not be real, and they're gonna yank the rug out. You believed it? Are you stupid? How do you believe that? They didn't actually do no transferring. You crazy. I'm almost expecting that to happen. But then again, it is kind of getting late into the game, so. I mean, it's episode 89, so I mean, it is kind of late into the game, I would think, so. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it is the case.
まだわからないことがある。何？どうしてお前はそんなにもスフィアのことに詳しいんだ？あれ？まだ気づいてなかったの？
今ここにいる僕は1月17日に救助隊によって発見された僕なんだよ。
So is he actually at? There's a hole right there. If he was actually being treated as Fia, then why is it Sumi not remember him?
雪崩に巻き込まれずに済んだ。
それは知ってるよ。その時から1年の時を経て、お前はアオサギ島の海岸にいる。そして2012年1月11日の午後5時前の時空間転移が発生し、お前はアオサギ島に飛ばされてきた避難小屋の中へと。あれ、なんか変だぞ。もしこのまま行けば、今ここにいるユニはまたしても1月17日に救助隊によって発見され、これじゃあ堂々巡りじゃないか。無限ループにはまっちまう。
ヒント教えてあげよっか。僕はスフィアで起きた全ての出来事を知ってるんだ。11日から17日まで、その7日間に起きた全部のことをね。つまり未来にいる僕は過去の僕ってこと。
どういうことだ。
I'm getting really confused here. So is he saying he... Okay, I guess he was at the cabin. He did the 7 days at the cabin, and he went into the future, and he did those 7 days, and then he came back. So he's relived both of them. Is that what he's saying? When he only left softly, I wouldn't answer. I wasn't sure where he got it, but he was holding a single feather in the palm of his hand. A soft, downy white feather. I woke up. It wasn't a slow, gentle awakening, but a sudden jerk, as if I'd been shaken. I was curled up in a corner of the kitchen, lying flat on the floor. You know what had happened? My body felt boneless, like a rubber doll's, my limbs too leaden and senseless for even the smallest movement. My body and consciousness had probably returned the moment I fell asleep in the cabin. Kokoro had woken up in Sphia within the past 33 minutes, and then what had happened after that? Why did my body feel so heavy? For the time being, I decided to take a look around. I had to coax some response from my limbs so I could get up. My legs were unsteady, and I swayed dangerously as I tried to stand and failed. As slowly as melting butter, I slid powerlessly back to the floor. Ouch. Couldn't move in the slightest after that. All the muscles in my body felt flaccid, and when I tried to call out for help, my tongue got tangled up in itself and I couldn't speak a word. Collapsed on my back, I stared up at the ceiling. It was shrinking further and further into distance until it was no larger than a grain of rice. Tiny ceiling. The room had stretched itself into a gigantic tower, high enough to brush the heavens. I was trapped at the far end of an ever-lengthening corridor. Just what had happened to my body. Even when faced with such a wondrous vision, my consciousness still had a comparatively strong grip on reality. It was a rather eerie feeling. Yeah. The inside of my mind was so clear, then why couldn't my body move? Why was I seeing these visions? I tried to analyze the situation calmly. First of all, aside from the wound on my arm from 3 days ago, I wasn't in any pain. Didn't look like I'd been hit or strangled, nor was I bleeding profusely. Just felt a sensation of nausea coming from my stomach. My throat was numb and stinging. What had Kokoro drunk, or had been forced to drink? Since this was a medical facility, it wouldn't be odd for drugs with hallucinogenic properties to be stored here somewhere. Yeah. Drugs that cause hallucinogenic properties. Seems like a good treatment for people who are suffering from potential hallucinations. I'm sure that, I'm not a doctor, so I'm pretty sure there are a lot of medicines that could be taken incorrectly that would cause stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that's what LSD is, right? It's a bunch of... No. Not sure what LSD is, but it's more manufactured than some of them, isn't it? Really don't know that much about such things as those, but yeah, I know a lot of medicines can cause stuff if done improperly. It's a big reason why I try not to take any medicine unless I have to. But why? Anyway, I can't do anything unless I get my body to move. Just lay here on the floor like a rubber doll. I'll never find out what happened. Then with that said, what am I supposed to do? For now, should I try throwing up the contents of my stomach? The absence of pain was very likely an indicator that my current condition could be fatal. It's good that I managed to work that out, but it's almost impossible to vomit while laying face up. And if I wasn't even capable of lifting my arm a few millimeters to stick my finger down my throat, nothing could be done. My breathing was labored, but I was able to inhale and exhale. My mouth was full of saliva. Probably because my throat was paralyzed, I couldn't swallow or spit it out. It overflowed from the corner of my mouth and ran along my cheek. I must look so pathetic right now. At the thought, a warm tear fell from the corner of my eye. It was a tear of frustration. It was just a psychological phenomenon. For the past few minutes from my transfer until now, I had yet to blink even once. Oh. I gotcha. Yeah. Always have these psychological physiological phenomenons happen at weddings. Physics. Wait. Physiology. Physics and physiology is two completely different things. A beam of light entered my eyes. Biology. Wait, is that the... No. It's too bright. I was even blinded. The multicolored light spun in a rainbow circle. Like spinning fireworks, the sparks turned into particles of pure white. Fluffy snow came floating down. The endless corridor stretching above me began a shaking, swaying dance. A swarm of white flakes split into 3 whirling spirals and disappeared. From them, 3 snow fairies appeared. Okay, I think he is. Yeah, he's on something. The tiny snow fairy slowly opened it. Wait. The tiny fairies slowly opened and began to flap their shimmering wings. Opened their wings, I'm assuming. They wore no clothes, but a red mark could be seen on their inner thighs. Okay. Please. No visuals, actually. They began to frolic and play like children. A foul stench pierced my nostrils and rose to consume me. I saw a series of wondrous scenes paraded before me. A panoply of chaos which, while grotesque, held a mysterious radiance within. I'm going to pretend like I know exactly what panoply means. Thoroughly enchanted, I began to forget myself. Adrift in that thick, stinking, strangely beautiful blackness, I slowly began to feel ecstasy eating away at my body. And still the ceiling soared on, further and further. No, it might not be that the ceiling was getting any further away, but me instead. My melting body was swallowed up by the floor. Sinking into infinitely deep chaos. Slowly sinking until I was subsumed. Yeah, he's tripping. Is that the phrase? I think that's the phrase. Did I lose? Oh, good.
ありがとう。おかげでだいぶ楽になったよ。
I saw dancing fairies and fireworks and an elevated ceiling. It was amazing. After what felt like an eternity in my comatose state, I had finally regained the ability to move and had gone to the living area. My hand on the wall for support, I felt like an old man.
こんな時にまで英雄気取りなのね。
Asumi's words stung. She probably still held a grudge against me. But even so, when I collapsed in the kitchen this morning, she was the one who carried me back to my room. She's the one who'd given me an antidote to neutralize the effect of the drug. The antidote had supposedly been stored deep inside the dark little room which Inamoto had hidden. Of course, this wasn't first-hand information. Asumi told me all of this just before. At any rate, she hadn't abandoned me. I was completely defenseless while I was out, but she didn't use that opportunity to attack me. On top of all that, she was nursing me back to health. Couldn't understand Atsumi's true intentions. Leaning against the window, I lit out a sign. Took my wristwatch from my pocket. The current time was 2 p.m.
あの物質が体内から消え去るまでには最低でも12時間はかかるわ。
Ooh, how coincidental. It seems like it's about the time that big events will happen, such as Kokoro arriving. Asumi continues standing in front of me.
あなたがキッチンに倒れてたのは今は
2時だ。2時5分過ぎ。
じゃあまだ6時間しか経ってないことになるわね。
そうだな。
おとなしく寝てたらどうなの？
子守歌歌ってくれるか。
バカみたい。それもどうせ冗談が言えるぐらいに回復したっていう意味でのアピールでしょ。
いや、本気だけど。
無理しないでよ。
無理なんかしてないさ。
そんなに顔が歪んでるのに？
元からじゃないか。
じゃあ握ってみて。
Saying that, she extended an arm out to me. Placed my hand over hers.
握ってって言ってるの。それは触れてるだけでしょ。
Even if she said that, there was nothing I could do. My fingertips wouldn't do as I told them. I was finally able to flex my fingers just enough to make a
もっと
fist.
強く。
I was in no condition to be making such fine adjustments. That's right, as Atsumi had said, I was just acting tough. Every muscle in my body had relaxed, as though they'd been transformed into jelly or yogurt. Putting my entire body weight against the window, I was somehow able to stay standing, but it felt like I'd fall over if someone so much as breathed on me. This was 6 hours after I'd collapsed in the kitchen. Thankfully, I wasn't seeing any more of those weird visions, but my body still felt completely
これ
limp.
は和解の握手と考えてもいいのかな。
ごまかさないでよ。握れないなら握れないって素直に言えばいいじゃない。
Kept silent. What was Tsumi thinking right now? I tried to sense her thoughts through the warmth of her hand. Was she still harboring murderous thoughts against Satoru? The very same Satoru was now sitting on one of the dining area chairs, chatting with Yuni. Couldn't make out the conversation from here, but I could see them well enough. Satoru and Yuni, of course, were both safe. The anniversary of Junichi-kun's death, the 14th, had already passed. But even so, it wasn't as though Itsumi's grudge had wiped itself clean. Furthermore, even though I was currently in no condition to stop her, it looked as though she hadn't laid a hand on Hattori. Why? I had no idea what Itsumi was thinking. However, it looked as though she felt the same.
あなたが何を考えてるのか。
She shook her head as though flustered and gently released my hand.
心に薬を飲ませたのは誰なんだ。
I asked as I clumsily rubbed my numb hands.
知らないわよ。見てたわけじゃないもの。自分で飲んだんじゃないの？
心が。
キッチンの床に空き瓶が転がってたの。誰かが無理やり飲ませたんだとしたら回収するはずでしょ。
I don't think that's necessarily the case. Well, whatever. I can think about that later.
で、その空き瓶には一体どんな薬が入ってたんだ？詳しい話はまだ。
そうね。まだ教えてなかったかもしれない。
Glancing discreetly over at Tori, Itsumi opened the door to the terrace. She stepped outside. Maybe she didn't want Tori to hear. Followed after Itsumi. The sky was refreshingly clear. There was no wind and the sun was hanging in the western sky through bright sunlight down at us. Despite the fact that I was in my pajamas, I didn't feel that cold. Then again, that could have more to do with my paralyzed nerves than the actual temperature. The cold air felt invigorating against my dull
空き
body.
瓶は2本あったわ。
Itsumi said as her exhalations turned to white
1
paper.
本は DMT の瓶で、もう1本はハルミンとハルマリンの混合溶液を入れたものだった。
Ah, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, Harmine and Harmaline, that's... and the DMT, yeah, definitely.
聞いたことある？ DMT って。
Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah, okay.
DMT ジメチルトリプタミン。幻覚誘発物質の中でも最も強力な部類に属する薬品。ハルミ
Okay.
ンとハルマリンの方は、こっちは多分あなたも聞き覚えがあるはずよ。魔を阻害剤のことだから。
魔を阻害剤って、あのネズミが口にした？
そう、ネズミの死因となった物質。
To me, I said it outright, but I couldn't quite wrap my mind around it. So in my head, I could still see the rat writhing in anguish on the dining area floor. Why'd Kokoro introduce such a dangerous drug into my body?
通常 DMT は単体で摂取しても幻覚作用を及ぼさないものなの。人体にあるモノアミン酸化酵素が DMT の有効成分を破壊してしまうから。ちょうどチラミンを分解するのと同じようにね。けれどハルミンやハルマリンと併用した場合は別。魔を阻害剤がモノアミン酸化酵素の働きを抑制することによって DMT の代謝は阻止され、
その結果、幻覚誘発物質は血中に残留することになる。
そういうこと。
でもわからないな。
何が？
何もかもだよ。仮に心が自分でそれらの薬品を飲んだとした場合、彼女はそのうちの一つが魔を阻害剤だということを知っていたのか知らなかったのか。知っていたとしてもその危険性まで正確に把握していたのかどうか。それからああ、悪い。こんなことをあんたに言ってもしょうがないよな。
そうとも限らないけど、私さっきは自分で飲んだんじゃないなんて言っちゃったけど、もしかしたら今キッチンにいる2人のうちのどちらかが無理やり飲ませたのかもしれないわね。
どちらかって要するにほとりのことが言いたいんだろう。
Sumi didn't answer. She walked away from me as though trying to evade the question. Okay, I don't remember Kokoro taking anything, to be honest. I really don't. I'm gonna go ahead and call it here, though. We're getting close to it, though. Getting close to the ending again. I don't know really how this series is going to end. Whether or not I guess I need to consider that pretty soon if I'm going to try to go for all the endings. Because that could be quite the thing to try to go for all of them. But yeah, You know, it would almost make sense if there was a third exchange where there was a... I don't think it happened. I don't think it's a case, but it would make things a little bit make more sense, I guess. Because I don't remember either of them actually killing Inamoto. I don't remember either of them taking anything. Definitely don't remember Satoru, obviously, but remember Kokoro taking anything, so... Definitely curious, definitely curious. But anyway, yep, I'm going to end it here. I do sincerely hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell there.